Hello and welcome to the SI5 Improvement Podcast, where we bring to you high performance and success stories from everyday people, along with self-improvement and healthy living advice from myself, the host, Harry Edward Bassant, because I truly believe that all of us have got advice to give and experiences to share for the listeners of the podcast to take away and apply. Because when we improve ourselves, that is when we improve our life. Welcome to the SI5 Improvement Podcast. Before we get into this podcast, I just want to give a massive shout out to Gareth Stubbs, who is a founding sponsor of the SI5 Improvement Podcast, and very appreciative I am of him for having faith in me and this podcast. So literally, he has got a retreat over in Spain called Sana. Now, do you know when you get that feeling where you just need to step away from everything for just a minute? Well, that's exactly what Sana will provide. It's a small, super personal wellness retreat created to help you just slow down, reset, and actually feel like yourself again. Think countryside walks, fun movement, nourishing, creative, healthy meals, and evening yoga, thought-provoking talks, and lots of space to just breathe. Nothing is compulsory. You take things at your own pace, and everything's about balance. It's the kind of break your body and mind will thank you for. So if this sounds exactly the thing you need right now, just head over on social media to Sana. That's S-A-N-A, Sana Retreat. Just take a look. Have a look at the photos and the videos that Gareth puts out. It's actually amazing. I've seen them and I want to go over there next year. It's definitely the reset that you know you're waiting for. So hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the SI5 Improvement Podcast, Series 2. And the first guest we have on Series 2 is Luke Ballantyne, who's got another successful story to share with you all. And if anyone is in a rut with addictions, especially drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, nicotine, Luke is going to be the man to listen to today because he has overcome these things. He's going to talk about his life when he was on them, maybe why he turned to these things, how he was living his life, and more importantly, how he's overcome it. Because there's a lot of you that are struggling to overcome these addictions, and it's important to know, and we can take inspiration from Luke's story here. So it's going to be valuable advice from an everyday person with a success story to share. So Luke,
that's it.
Thanks for coming on, mate, and for your time.
No worries at all, Harry. No worries at all, mate. Thanks for having me.
That's good. Where are you right now?
So at the minute, I'm out in Bali. I've just been to Vietnam, and yeah, thought I'd have a trip over here to see what it's all about, really. See what these Australians are loving about it.
So you're now living the life.
Yeah, a lot better than what it was.
Well, let's talk about what it was.
Yeah.
So you obviously struggle with alcohol and drugs. So what age were you when you sort of started developing that, turning to those substances and addiction?
Yeah, so alcohol, from the age of 15, I was always the drunkest person at a party. I'd pre-drink to excessive amounts. We would drink a bottle of vodka. I would drink a bottle of vodka in a night. And that was just neat as well. So it wasn't be mixer or anything like that. That was just normality at the time. But then with regards to the substance abuse, so cocaine and everything like that, that really came a bit later on. That was probably around the age of 19, when just before I started getting into security work.
Okay, and so obviously the cocaine came later on, which is, I think it's quite a common thing to take place if someone's drinking. Then, it's like there's a big gap now between our baseline dopamine level and how we're spiking it. And then we kind of look for something more, don't we?
Yeah, that's exactly it. You're always chasing that buzz that you first got. So with the alcohol, it was great getting drunk the first couple of times, or first couple of years probably. You access it more and more frequently as well in my case. Doing that first bit of cocaine, that was like drinking all over again. It was that big hit, and then straight away you were like, wow, okay, this is why people are doing it and stuff like that. And that feeling, it sticks with you. And it then gets to a point where, okay, right, before it was one line, and now it's, I need like half a gram. And then it just builds and builds and builds. And before you know it, you're in a really dark place.
Yeah, we're trying to make ourselves feel good at the end of the day. And, you know, we turn to alcohol. Most of the country turn to alcohol to make themselves feel good. If you want to go to a party, you want to have a good time. So you turn to alcohol to enhance that good time.
Yeah.
It's quite a normal thing. But once that becomes a habit and it becomes normality, it kind of stops becoming an enjoyable time, doesn't it? So then that's when you start thinking, well, how can I make this more fun? You know?
Yeah, that's exactly it. You're always thinking about other ways in which you can enhance that experience for yourself. The thing that makes me laugh about alcohol is it is so socially accepted. For me, it was the ultimate gateway drug. And I do call it a drug. It's a legal one at the moment, it may always be legal. But it does just trickle on to further things, and you make bad decisions when you want it. Whether that be, in my case, it was food addiction, whether it be drug addiction. I never had a cigarette without alcohol. But then that become a daily thing in itself. So then, as I say, it just trickles onto everything else.
Yeah, what you just said there about making bad decisions when you're drunk and on drugs is, you know, the actual substance affects the frontal lobe of the brain, which my dad suffered from frontal lobe dementia, and his behaviour was affected, and his decision making and rational thinking was affected. And alcohol actually lowers that barrier as well. That's why we make bad decisions, because the frontal lobe is actually not performing as you know, as well as it should when we're sober. So we make bad decisions, we say stupid things. Not only that, we then wake up with a hangover the next day, so we're tired, we're dehydrated, we become negative, and then we make bad decisions because we're just tired and hungover. Vicious circle, isn't it?
100%. That's it. And then as soon as you're hungover, you're sat there like, oh, what can I do to not feel like this? Okay, right, I need that next high.
That's it.
And then the circle starts again. For me, it got to a point where it was every other day. So I would consume alcohol and drugs every other day. I knew lots of people in the nightlife industry. So I would go to their bar, club, or whatever it may have been, and then would stay there after hours. So I wouldn't be getting home until 3 or 4 in the morning, and then having to then go again the next day for work. Like a lot of people watching this podcast would probably know, it's very hard to get through that next day. So what you do is you then say to yourself, oh, I'll just go to the toilet, have a cheeky bump and stuff like that. In my case, it was, I had an office full of staff that were working for me, and I'd just do a line in front of them. And it became a regular thing that I would just do it midday, offer it round to everyone, and creating that sort of environment. Just horrible.
Yeah, I completely relate to that, mate, because there was times when it got bad for me at the end, and you know, I couldn't even wait till the end of the shift. I was going out at lunchtime. You know, I just needed something to just get me out of this mood. It was more mood related. You know, I was so hungover and negative that I was just thinking, I just need a couple of beers, and then I'd come back on my lunch break, and I'd be all this joyful fellow, and everyone would go, Harry's had a few beers at lunchtime. You know.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And how did you feel, Luke, throughout that period of your life when you were just drinking every other day and doing drugs at work and things?
Honestly, it felt like normality. So my social circle was entirely the pub industry. Everyone I knew and was close to went to the pub most days, or worked in that industry and stuff like that. And it is rife in that industry. Not everyone who works in that industry obviously partakes in that sort of thing, but it is very, very common. And once that is your social circle, you then all convince yourself this is normality. I remember having conversations with my friends. Genuinely, we were sat there and we were just like, so what do people do other than go to the pub?
Yeah.
Like they've got free time, but where do they go? Like who goes for a walk? Like that was like our mindset at the time. And yeah, as I say, it was normal.
Well, I think that's really a really vital point actually for anyone listening or watching on YouTube, is because, like you say, I think especially when we're in our 20s, when you look at like the older generation who are just going for a walk and they find that enjoyment, you know, you kind of look at them and you think, that's how boring. I think that's natural when you're in your 20s because we're naturally more energetic and we want fun. But when you take that into your 30s and 40s and 50s and beyond, like you say, it becomes normality. And you don't realise how you're going to feel because you associate how you're feeling and the lifestyle you're living now every single day, and you've probably been living this way for years. If anyone's listening or watching this now, that's them. You do not have a clue what it feels like to be healthy, sober, fresh, energetic, and positive, because you've never actually felt those things for a long, long time. So you have no idea. So the way you just said there, Luke, that you felt like it was normal is massively important, that actually you felt it was normal because you'd been living that way for such a long time and it was part of your circle and everything else.
That's it. And I think for me, it was 10 years, about roughly 10 years that I was going through this journey of addiction. But I remember leaving that social circle and going to see my family up north. And at family events, I would ruin them because I would get absolutely out of it. I'll get caught doing drugs at family engagement parties. That springs to mind. And I was just the devil, basically, to my family. It became awkward to the extent where I wouldn't get invited to social occasions with family and stuff like that. But then as I say, you're wrapped in that world and you think, I'm normal. What's wrong with these people? They're all weird. So then you justify it to yourself so much that that outside world then becomes a freak show to you. Yeah.
That is a massive point, and I'm going to put that as a highlight, actually, as a reel for this podcast, because because to start off with, right, family members and friends can think, oh no, Luke's coming, brace yourself, and it becomes a bit of a joke because they think, oh, you know you're going to do something to cause a scene or to have an effect on the atmosphere, so they think, oh, brace yourself. But after a while, you actually start to become a hindrance to family gatherings, right?
Yeah.
And people stop inviting you, like you just said, your family stopped inviting you out. Now, I think there's many people who are in this situation in their lives where their families stopped inviting them out. And what you said was just there where you justified it. And it's so easy to then, because you're wrapped up in this normality of your addiction and your negative cycles, that you start blaming these other people, thinking, what are they leaving me out for? You know, are out of order. They're inviting all the others, but why are they leave? Yeah, they're making excuses.
Yeah.
And then the family start lying to you because they don't want to offend you anymore by saying you're not allowed to come. So then they start being dishonest and they can start planning things without actually informing you what's going on. And then it makes it worse. And then this family feuds, and it's all because the individual is living that way. You know,
100%. 100%. You don't, when you're in that life, you don't realize the effect you're having. This could be anything. It could be like your close at home family if you're married and have children. It could be your father away from home, family, away. You're affecting everyone who comes into contact with you. And trust me, you may think it's a nice way, and you may think it's amusing sometimes to get absolutely hammered at these events or whatever, and you become the class clown for a bit. But trust me, by the end of it, everyone's just like, what is he on? It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is embarrassing. And you don't realise this until you become sober and start living healthy, you know. I went out once or twice on a night out, a couple of times after I'd stopped drinking. And, you know, I'm watching certain people act in a certain way where I'm thinking, you're making a bit of a fool of yourself now. Like, this is a bit embarrassing, even being here in the room with you. But that's how I used to act, and I used to have a great time when I was like that as well. When you're looking at it from a sober point of view, just thinking you're making an absolute fool of yourself. But in the moment, you're proud of yourself. You're like, you think you're the man.
Exactly that.
Laugh. And it's good that you've now realised that, Luke, because people are still in that rut and they still don't realise it. So to hear it from you, someone who's been there and come out the other side of it, it's humble of you to admit that, it was you with the issue here, not your family members for not inviting you.
Yeah, I think at certain points in life, you just need to throw your hands up and just be like, yeah, my bad. I fucked up. Let's make a change.
Yeah. And I've been in that position before myself as well. I've been in negative ruts and I start blaming everybody else. But do you know what I've recognised now from the fact of where I've been, and me becoming sober, I became a really positive person. But then I got sucked back a little bit into negative ruts with binge eating, and I became quite negative, even only last year. But I now realise when there's lots of different people that are all having a bee in their bonnet about you, you've got to start thinking to yourself, it must not be everybody else. Not everybody can be a prick. Sometimes, if there's too many people with an issue with you, you've got to then look at yourself and think, is it me? And it's harsh. It takes a lot of courage to actually assess that and be humble to accept it.
Yeah, definitely.
So Lou, you've come out the other side now. You went sober. What happened one night to trigger that decision to kind of go clean and healthy?
Yeah, so I'd say I've got two things that happened to me. The first thing is touching on that social circle, what's normality, is an ex-girlfriend actually came back into my world. Now my fiance, but she knew me before I went down this slope, and knew me at the start of that slope as well. But meeting someone from outside of your circle, and then they put things into perspective for you, it is a bit of a wow experience, and you are taken back. You're like, wait, so there is more to life than just going down the pub. Like, what do you mean you want to learn something, or whatever it may be? And it does hit you. And that to me then made me start thinking, okay, let's branch out a little bit. Let's see more aspects of the world. Whether that be going to the driving range or playing a game of tennis or whatever it may be. And then after that, something happened. I got my head kicked in, basically. And to me, it's so embarrassing. Because for me, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, I'll fight it. Like, I'll have a fight with anyone at the time and stuff like that. But then I got absolutely battered. There was quite a few of them, but honestly, I was so drunk that a little push and I would have fallen over.
Yeah.
Like, it was embarrassing. And then I was basically in my girlfriend at the time's house then for about a week afterwards, just unable to move from bed. Like, I had broken ribs, my face was all battered and blue and stuff like that. I was just sitting there to myself. I was like, how can you let yourself be so weak and vulnerable? Like, and the thing is, it's going to happen to everyone at some point if they're going out all the time and they're getting in those states. Like, whatever the reason is that you have that argument, I was in the right for that argument. But if I wasn't that vulnerable, then I would have been able to deal with it a lot better.
Yeah, so true as well. There's a scripture in the Bible that says you will reap what you sow. So if you're putting yourself in a position where you're going to attract some unfortunate situation like that, and if you're getting drunk and you're getting leery and you're going out and these things are going to happen eventually, aren't they? It happened to me as well over in Cyprus on a stag do.
Yeah.
So I understand. Yeah. And so that's what made you then think, hold on a minute, I need to stop putting myself in these positions.
Yeah, it was a contributing factor, and then both of them were the main factors. And then after that, I did go out a couple more times, but it was weird. It was like the alcohol didn't taste the same. the drugs didn't taste the same. The environment didn't feel the same. You just kind of sat back a little bit more. You were like, is this it? Like, is this what life is about? And then when I started feeling that, it just became really strange. I was like, I've fallen out of love with this. And I'm no longer, can't be my life anymore.
How old were you when you thought that?
I was 29.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
so I'm 30. I'm 30 now, just coming up to 31.
do you think that was something about those two situations that made your mind start thinking differently about the alcohol? That's why you weren't enjoying it as much, or?
100%. And because for me, I was really passionate about my relationship at the time. I didn't want to put my girlfriend through that again, because again, this is something I think a lot of people go through, is deep down, they don't want their loved ones to see them in this state. Now as men, you don't think like this. You think, nah, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm hard, mate. It'll be all right. But eventually everyone always gets it. And then when that happens, you see your loved ones, like, in my opinion, they were worse off than me. I was bedbound for a week, but they were crying and stuff, like worried about me and stuff like that. And then you go out afterwards and it's a bit like just looking at your phone, you're just wanting to check in, just make sure you're all right. And then it becomes a point where, what's the point in going out? I just want to make sure I'm okay to get back.
Yeah. So really that relationship, it kind of provided you like a new purpose as well.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. And I always teach on my social media that purpose is absolutely massive, and you can find purpose in lots of other ways of life, you know, whether it's relationships, whatever it might be. There is I think having a purpose, having something that's going to drive you forward. And it looked like you found that in your relationship.
Yeah, as you say, it can come from anything. It can be starting a new business like yourself, and then that gives you that drive every day to wake up and just keep going no matter what.
Yeah.
It could be starting a new sport and just be like, oh shit, I'm the worst in my club at the minute, but you know what? I'm going to be the best by the end of the year, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And just set yourselves these little goals. And then before you know it, you're starting to hit things. And the motion starts going, you're like, oh, this is all right, this feeling.
And something else I say as well online is don't focus on quitting the alcohol. Focus on developing a new purpose and a new identity, because I think the reason why you sat in the pub at one point and sort of had that beer and thought, I'm not enjoying this anymore, is exactly what I say about when you're focusing on something else that's a purpose. If the alcohol does not align with that purpose, it will simply start to drop off without you even having to really think much about it. And I think that's what was probably happening with you. You had this new purpose and you probably sat there with your alcohol and just thought, this don't feel right, because it's not aligned.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, yeah, I've got something I'm going to share with you later about my main thing and to what I believe in. But yeah, 100% agree with you. And for me, like, my belief is your addiction isn't the problem. What it was is it was a wrong solution to your original problem. So for me, it was I felt abandoned from my father, so I always chased that feeling needed. So how did I find that? Oh, I found a group in a pub, and that was it. And it can be anything from anyone, no matter what. But yeah, your addiction isn't, for me, it's not the substance or the alcohol or whatever it may be. You need to find that root cause. And once you find that root cause, then it doesn't become I've been sober for a day, I've been sober for 2 days. Because as you say, it's out of your mind. It's no longer in your drive or where you're going.
Yeah. Just another shout out to my founding sponsor, Gareth Stubbs, who has a recipe book for you. Are you looking to shake up your kitchen routine? Then Gareth's Kitchen, the Unorthodox Cookbook, is the creative, flavour-packed companion that you didn't know that you needed. I use this cookbook myself, and I've cooked with loads of recipes from it, and it is absolutely brilliant. Love the cookbook, use it all the time. So if you're tired of preparing the same old meals over and over again, it's time to discover delicious, simple, creative meals that are fun to cook as they are to eat. This book is packed with simple, flavour-packed recipes designed to bring more ease, inspiration, and joy to your everyday meals. Whether you're a seasoned chef or whether you're just kitchen curious or just starting out, it's perfect for cooks of all levels. No super fancy skills required, just a willingness to be creative and try something new. Visit Amazon right now and search for Gareth's Kitchen, the Unorthodox Cookbook. Go and get your copy and bring a little unorthodox magic into your kitchen. Yeah, 100% get that, mate. And so you kind of felt a void by your father abandoning you, and so you kind of filled that void with the drugs and the alcohol.
Yeah, so I would grow up with him drinking a bottle of wine when my parents broke up, and that was some of my earliest memories of him just sat there drinking all night, and then I'd wake up in the morning as a child around 7 a.m. or whatever, and my dad wouldn't be around until 11 o'clock, and there'll be 3 or 4 bottles of wine left on the table. But when you're experiencing that as a child, I think it's like, oh, okay, so this is his coping mechanism. So maybe it will work for me.
Especially at that age as well, you're absorbing quite a lot and your personality is starting to really develop at that age.
Yeah, you're taking everything in. And yeah, you do become a miniature version of what you see in your surroundings.
Yeah.
So whatever your surroundings are, you're going to become that.
Yeah, it's true. And a lot of, Gabor Mate, he speaks about a susceptibility to addiction, and that susceptibility can actually form even in the womb, but it can also form in your early infancy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, a lot of people who you see out there who are addicted to all sorts, a lot of people look at them and sort of look down their noses at that person and think, oh, look, another addict. But you don't realise that person has probably been, in a tricky situation when they were a child. It's not actually their fault. They've got this susceptibility and they're battling with this every single day. And
it's their coping mechanism.
Yeah.
It's how they think they can get through life. If something's hard, what do? I pick up a drink, or I do a line, or whatever it may be. That's just the way people's minds are wired. And until you get down to that core of why do I feel like that and what drives me to that, then you can't ever change.
How did you finally manage to give up the drugs, give up the alcohol? Were there any mindset techniques you used or lifestyle changes that you made?
Yeah, so as I say, when I got my head kicked in, I went and stayed at my girlfriend's. Now after that, I actually moved in with her, and that then gave me a thing. I was in a different town, so I would drive over to see my friends, but I would make sure I'd drive, just so that way I wouldn't drink, and I'd have that excuse. But I think it's when you're first giving up, you need to have these excuses in your mind of like, oh, why aren't you drinking? Oh, I'm trying to lose weight, or whatever it may be. Just these quick go-tos that you can just fire out of people, and then it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Moved in with my girlfriend. That removed quite a lot of the exposure to the environment that I found harmful. But I think a massive thing is locating and identifying the triggers with you.
Yeah.
So say if it's, I don't know, maybe it's a job and it's stressing you out so much that you feel the urge to then go home and sink that bottle of wine, or you can't get through the day even sometimes. Then you look at these triggers and you're like, right, how can I eliminate as many of these triggers as possible? Without that, there's always going to be something that you need in order to get through your day. So you eliminate those triggers. Another good thing that I personally found, I was honest with my friends. I told them, guys, it's difficult, but you just say, I've got a problem and I need to stop this. If I don't stop this, then I'm going to be dead. And I was fortunate that my friends had already actually told me they were worried about my health. So rather than it being a thing then at the pub of, why are you drinking? You absolute idiot. Like, start drinking. You've been boring. It was a thing of support.
Mm. Well, there's 4 key things there that I've just jotted down for just to recap for the listeners. Is number 1, you got rid of triggers. So you just got rid of anything that may have contributed, leaving your car at home, for example. You're just setting yourself up for success, aren't you, by getting rid of these things or getting rid of anything that could potentially lead to you drinking or doing drugs. The environment that you're in as well, taking yourself out of environments, maybe putting yourself into new ones. Changing your lifestyle. By moving in with your girlfriend, that would have probably changed your lifestyle, what you did first thing in the morning or what you did during the day and last thing at night and whatever it might be. That lifestyle probably changed quite a lot. It did with me when my ex moved in with me. So, you don't have to have a relationship for that, but lifestyle change is definitely a big one.
Yeah.
And
another good trick I would like to add, is I used to say I'm going to detox for a month. So people turn around and be like, oh, why are you doing that? So, just to prove to myself I'm not addicted. In my mind, it was me testing myself and then trying to withdraw those things gradually. So before you know it, for like a month to 2 months, I was then doing a detox where I couldn't drink, I couldn't smoke, I couldn't do drugs or anything like that. But you've got that instant excuse for not doing it.
Yeah, so you went on you set yourself a 1 month challenge, if you like.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and you have to be super strict with it.
Yeah.
Like change your diet. I think diet and exercise as well. I know this is something we agree on. Diet and exercise is massive.
Yep, and I was about to highlight that you're always someone I see on your social media, that you're always in the gym, you're always exercising, and a lot of people I've had on the podcast and a lot of people I see on social media who have overcome addictions all have one thing in common, well, most of them do, and that is you always see them exercising as part of their daily routine. It's no coincidence. Yeah. It's no coincidence how exercise and overcoming addiction can really work well.
100%. Like my partner always says to me, I've got an obsessive personality. Like if I try something, I want to be the best at it. So if you throw yourself into those positive things, then every single day you're just going to be there knocking down that door. And as well, it's the dopamine. It's a great thing of dopamine early on in the morning. You get that hit.
Yeah, brilliant. And it's throwing yourself all into it, isn't it? Not dabbing your feet here and there and say, well, I'll try and give it a go and I'll try and stop drinking. No, you set yourself a 1 month challenge and you said, I'm going to abstain from all these addictions from this start date till this start date. And that was a challenge and it gets you motivated. You were determined to do it. I think that's important. Yeah.
And I think as well, be public about it. Don't be ashamed to tell people that you're doing these things. Because as soon as you tell people, then that gives you a sense of responsibility as well. And a sense of, if I fail here, everyone's then going to think, like, whatever I say moving forward, they're not going to believe what I say.
That's right.
So I need to get this right. Otherwise, I'm going to look like an absolute plank.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And you said honesty. That was my 4th one that I listed because, number 1, you were honest with yourself. You've been honest with yourself in terms of why your family weren't inviting you out and, why you got your head kicked in. You didn't blame it on your mate getting you into trouble. You didn't blame it on the pub kicking you out or the people that beat you up. You actually blamed it on yourself for putting yourself into that position. So you've been totally honest with yourself. And then you're honest with other people and you're telling them, look, I've got a problem and I need to sort it out and this is what I'm going to do. So brilliant. Really good points. How are you feeling nowadays, Luke, now that you've overcome addiction and you're working out and in control?
Honestly, mate, I've never felt better. I've never been happier. I don't feel like I ever need to put on a show, I guess. Like, whereas before, it always used to be, how are you feeling? You all right? Yeah, mate, I'm great. How are you? That was a chat. That's how, in my experience, how men check in with each other. Are you all right? Yeah, mate, I'm doing great. Okay, smashing. Let's have a bit.
Yeah.
Like, But now I can be honest with people. If I'm feeling bad, then I'll let them know. Or if I'm feeling great, like at the moment, or well, to be honest, since I've stopped drinking and everything, it's been strength to strength. Every day you set yourself new targets. Like, I write myself a list every single day and every week, and I'm like, what am I going to achieve this week? And then you start ticking that stuff off. It's impossible not to be happy. You're like, wow, I'm making progress this week. I've done this. Flip, that's amazing. Another good thing I'd say is, well, if you've got a partner or a friend or whatever it may be, write down a list of things where you want to be in a year's time and make it as detailed as you possibly can. And then come back to this with that friend or that partner in a year and read it to each other.
Mm.
And then if you'll see how many things you've ticked off, and you'll be amazed. You'll be like, I'm never going back to that life ever again. Look at me.
Yeah.
And there's no better feeling.
It's like a visualization practice, isn't it, really? You're looking ahead to a year's time, you're visualizing where do you want to be, and it's
exactly that. I think visualization's crucial.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, you've done really well, Luke, and yeah, you're inspiring everyone else on your social media. Where can people find you on your social media? What's the best platform?
Probably Instagram, TikTok. It's Luke Ballantyne. I'll be bringing out a website shortly as well, but that will be released on there.
Brilliant. Well, I encourage anyone who is struggling with these things just to give you a follow and to just take inspiration from your daily posts, because you're doing really well. And if there is one golden piece of advice that you want to leave the listeners with, what would that one piece of advice be?
Okay, so for me, I think what you do is you sit down with a bit of paper and a pen and you write down everything about the perfect version of you. You do it to the extreme detail. You do it in appearance. You do it on friendship groups. You do it on your job. You do it on every aspect of your life. You write it down, and then you cement that in your brain. And then what happens? You go out into the world. You get given these temptations. You then think, okay, what would the perfect version of me say? What would the perfect version of me do? If your perfect self isn't aligned with what your temptation is, why are you going to do it? Because you're just pushing yourself further away from your dream person. Just keep that vision in your head and never forget it.
Absolutely brilliant advice, mate. And once again, it's like an alignment thing, isn't it? What you've written down about your best version, who you really want to be deep down. If it doesn't align with that daily action that you're then going to take, you'll start to think, I'm doing something that's not right here, because your subconscious has stored what you're telling yourself is your vision, but your frontal lobe is making other decisions that are not quite in alignment with that. So you're going to start questioning your decisions, aren't you?
Exactly that. And everything that your dream person, like, think of it as a real person. They've done everything that you've done. So they know the way. If you put that in your mind, and then you know the way, and there'll be no more temptations.
That's brilliant. Luke, thank you very much for sharing your story and for all the advice that you've given. Especially
thank you, mate. It's been great.
That last bit of advice as well. I think that's something people can take away and start doing now. Just go away. Doesn't matter what rut you're in. Get a notepad. Write down who you truly want to be in your life. Who do you want to be? How do you want to act? Write it down, and that will cement that into your subconscious. Brilliant advice.
Exactly that.
Thanks a lot, Luke. Have fun.
Thank you very much, mate. Harry, mate.
Enjoy your well-deserved new life.
Oh, 100%, mate. Loving it. Thank you. Have a great day, mate. And you, mate. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And just to let everybody know before you go, that Transform 180 is now live, but it's only open for 1 week. So you've got until Friday, 8 p.m. to get involved in this intake of the program now before the doors close. It's a health transformation program that takes you on a 180-day journey to regain control of your health, instill self-mastery, and totally transform who you are as a person, leading to greater purpose. It's going to provide accountability, discipline, lifestyle structure, mindset work through group Zoom calls, and it's going to provide community for the support and the motivation that you need to continue on your path. It's a flexible program. It's for the long term. It's sustainable. Over the course of 6 months, it will transform the current place where you are now with regards to your health, and it will get you back on the path, back in control, back focused on your health, and it will lead to total transformation. It's on my bio, on the profile of my Facebook, of my Instagram, and on my TikTok. So go over to those social media channels now, click on my profile, click on the link, and there's more info there. Make sure you get in. The cart's only open for 1 week. See you there.